are you today? I'm Jennifer with Watercolor Girlfriend, and today we're going to do mini masterpieces. I'm sorry, this one is behind glass already. I'm just going to show you some of these here, and then I'm going to show you, these are a little bit different. All right, try that again. And then the one we're going to create today is, it's all ready. So I make a card. You can make cards out of these. This is the one we're going to be talking about today, mostly. And you'll see it. There'll be two of them, and the other one I have put in the frame. And this one, I've actually put a magnet on the back, and I'm going to send it to my sister-in-law in the card that I made. So they can make some really fun little gifts that, you know, fit right in an envelope. But really, what we're going to talk about today is using up your scraps. So these came from other projects that I was working with. Someday we're going to figure that out. So other projects, you know, you have all these leftovers, and, you know, if you kind of match them up, there's still pretty good stuff. You can work on two at a time if you want. You could just work on one, and then you can do all these cool things with them. I'm going to show you how we start off with the frame. First of all, these are two different frames I want to show you. This one has a magnet on the back. It's very simple. It's plastic, but it's really fun. It's 2.5 by 3. I want to make sure that's correct. 2.5 by 3.5. You get these at any kind of local, you know, big box store, and you know, you can, however you want to do that. Sorry about the reflection. Then this one also has like a little mini. You can get these. You can order these. You can put that right on the stand. Cute, cute. Oh, all that reflection. And it can do lots of different colors. There's one here like this. And then this is another frame. So then this one's a little nicer. This one is wood, and it has like its own stand. So you'd be able to prop that one up nicely. So that's a couple of options. Same size though. So you're going to see how we work the size and use the insides of those frames as a template to get started. But here's some of the supplies we're going to be using, and I did have a tester that you'll see in there that I, you know, tried out some stuff. But this is kind of what this is. So I kind of put this on the side when I'm painting, and then I tape it all off like I do with anything. And then I just use it as I go through my painting and get rid of some of the paint, because then it keeps your water cleaner, and then it makes these cute little paintings. And then I can try different stuff. You can see I'm trying, like, what does that look like when I do that? Or what does this new tool material look like when I use it over this paint, or whatever. Before I actually apply it to the painting, I can practice with it and, you know, test it out and see if I even like it. So there's that. And we will be using a small brush today. It's a smaller painting, so I did incorporate a smaller brush. This is a 1. It's pretty small. And a watercolor pencil. Might be a couple of different colored ones going in there. My favorite, the oil pastel. Another favorite is the Uniball. Yeah, I did. I just got these. So this is a Uniball white gel roller. Give those a try. And I wanted to talk a little bit about when I use Q-tips. So this is watercolor on these, and you can almost re-wet these and just keep reusing it a little bit. It'll give you some more of that green ink, green paint. The yellow might be a little bit lighter, and it's getting a little dirty, but you could still reuse this and put it in green paint and then put it on your painting. it doesn't always have to be a brand new Q-tip. You can just keep a little pile of these going and keep using it until it's kind of worn out. And then some stencils, some of my favorite ones, the swirly doodles. There's lots of cool ones in there. And this, I used some white ink. It's got a dropper, and I drop that into some of the paint. I love the cool effect. I'm not sure if, I haven't tried a white liquid watercolor and how great that would work, but you could certainly check that out and see if that's something that would give you a desired effect. But it's fun to try new supplies, and I think we'll head over there and get started. I have some pictures here of the paper I'm using. I showed you that earlier, and then the final, so the insides of the frame that I'm going to use, I take out of this frame, and I want to make sure that it's going to look good once I put it, you know, back into the frame. So there it is again. You've seen that already. And I just took out the back, and I'm sorry, I made the cardstock one so that the paper is a little bit bigger than the opening, and then I used the paper that it came with, the frame, and I used that to template off a space, and then I taped off around that. And here is my favorite oil pastel for a nice resist. Little different on both paintings. And I am using a bigger brush as well. So this is a 12 watercolor round. I'm sure you probably have a couple of these different sizes hanging around. If you don't, just use what you have. No biggie. And I am actually, today I'm going to work off of some inspiration. I saw a painting on a Netflix show that I really liked. So I actually took a picture of the screen. And the picture, the painting on the wall is pretty tiny. But I liked the placement of the colors. So that's kind of what I'm inspired by. In no way does this look like it when it's finished. Not even close. That's not the gist of being inspired by a painting. I just wanted to use some of the colors, kind of in some of the same fashion, but the painting that I was looking at was oil and like a 16 by 20, and this is much, much smaller than that. So here's some of that, the white India ink I was showing you earlier. It's cool when you drop it into a darker color and it kind of, you know, kind of mushrooms out like that, and you can see how it's given it a different effect. And then there was this this yellow block area in the painting I was looking at. So I wanted to incorporate that. And these are very bold, bright colors. You could certainly mix just a couple of colors, you know, go with just pink and green or blue and green to give it a totally different feel. These were the colors that were in that painting that I am using as a reference, and I'm just kind of going with it. Sometimes I think about where I want to put the placement of, you know, you don't always just head right in. Where do I want it? I do want it to look balanced, so I'm, you know, incorporating it more than one space. But you don't have to do that. This is just the way I like to work, and something that can kind of inspire you to do what you want to do. And purple. I never work with purple. Never. Look at that. I incorporated a third brush. Whoops. Sorry about that. That is a 10. 8? I think that's an 8. So I put in some of that purple, and I almost never work all these colors like in this. This is very different than what I often do, which is, you know, it helps you learn and explore different things. And maybe you stumble across a different style that you want to incorporate into your own work, it's good to try different stuff. And then it also causes you to start thinking, you know, instead of doing it the way you always do it. This kind of gives you pause. Should I put that there? Will that look good there? What do you think? Etc. Yeah, rinse that off good. And you saw me move over to the left there with the brush. I was wiping it off on those little scraps that I told you about earlier. Now this green that I'm adding with drops, this is a liquid watercolor that I have in a different palette to keep it separate from my watercolors. Also very cool. They're very bright. They don't always completely dry that way exactly, but they can really add to maybe some of the muted tones you might be using. So for some reason I am using this, just what was ever laying around. It's a paper clip. But after I'm using it thinking, you know, I could be scratching the paper. So that, I don't have that anymore. I'm not going to use that anymore. You could use the back of your brush. That works just fine if you want to do some sort of, you know, paint movement, scratchiness, that kind of thing. I love to work with these water-soluble crayons through the water that I put on the painting. It gives a nice flow to the media. It just moves really nicely on the paper and over all the other paint and oil pastel that's already down on there. I just want to get rid of that so it doesn't bleed onto the painting. And next, we're going to add a little orange because I love that. And I think we're going to splatter that some, because if you've seen any of my other abstract paintings, I really like the different feel it gives you. You got all this tight, well, maybe not tight, but line work and graphic shapes, and then you throw in some splatter and it really contrasts it, gives it a little more energy. And I wasn't sure if I was really liking how this painting was turning out, to be honest, but I was having a good time and trying some different things. So that alone. We'll get in some of this stenciling here, and you could just kind of leave it to look like pencil without filling in too much. Again, it's another interesting layer. See, you don't have to like do it real tight. You can just kind of all over the place. I love that texture. And you know, the more you do this kind of thing where you try different things, then you'll see what you like. And you can look at the paintings you've got and the paintings you've done in the past, and oh, I really liked how that looked, I didn't like that, I really liked that, and incorporate just the things you like and stop doing the stuff you don't like. And I like to balance my stuff with similar things on the other side. So there you go. So I like that. And I'm going to wet it down a little bit. If you've seen in the past how I like to do that, it gives the pencil, it bleeds a little bit past the pencil mark. It's a cool look. So you could give that a try on your next painting if you haven't done that already. And it kind of deepens the color of the watercolor pencil material. So I want to make that purple stand out a little bit more. Again, don't use a lot of purple in my paintings. I don't think I still will. I don't know.
I really like the color purple. I just don't see it in my paintings much. It doesn't call to me. Do you use a lot of purple? Should I give purple a try more? Maybe a purple and a blue painting? That I could do. I could try that. So here we go. I'm going to use a Q-tip I've had and that I've used a number of times. And I'm just going to go for it. I did try it, you see, on that little extra piece of paper to see if, first of all, see if it's producing anything in the color that I like, if it's putting out enough of the paint, if the Q-tip is still worthy of using, or is it kind of a piece of junk. So always have some scraps around that you can practice on, and who knows, maybe I'd turn that into a nice bookmark. That'd be lovely. I am starting to get a little overwhelmed with the extra tiny little paintings that I'm producing on the side, but what do you do? Okay, so that wasn't quite the way I liked it, going over that the resist from the oil pastel. So I'm gonna yeah, and that's the ink. I'm sorry, the liquid watercolor. It gives a real vibrant appearance. Cool. I love some circles and dots, I guess you'd call it. So let's get in a little closer so you can see some of the detail-y stuff. A little drier, that helps. And I'd like to outline these circles. Now you could use whatever color meets your fancy. You could do a different color for each one. Doesn't have to be anything, you know, it's not dictated to do whatever you want. It's one thing we all love about art, right? Just do what you enjoy to do. Great. Okay, and we'll take care of these other ones over here. Adding another layer. And this is actually hot press paper, which actually I think the right one is hot press. And I'm sorry, the right one is cold press, which is a little rougher. So you can see kind of how it bumps around on that paper. Not my favorite kind of paper, but it was a scrap and I'm using it. And then here's my Uniball gel white pen. Just got that. Really enjoying it. And I think these might be turning into my signature dots, which is fun. Maybe we'll expand on those and include some other doodles on them. I like these so far. I like the white on the green. And I love that area. It's got so many different layers going on and darks and lights. You know, I wanted to add a little bit more even. Gives a rich feel, that yellow over those other bright colors. A little too much water there, but I would like to, so that's the water soluble crayon that you saw. And I want to paint over that to kind of smooth it out, but not entirely. It's really got its own texture. And again, it's the cold press. You can really see the tooth more in that. So you might really like that if you like the cold press paper. Yeah, cool. All right, we're gonna take that tape off quick. Take it slow so you can, and try to save those. I use them up. And I'll lay those down on my work area and I'll take a little bit of wet cloth and I'll clean them up so that it doesn't bleed onto my next painting. And so now you have two fun paintings. One you can share one you can, you know, put in the frame, like you see me assembling here. These aren't the absolute perfect frames, but if you can find them, they have a little piece of glass, a little, I don't know, that's a piece of foam that keeps the painting away from the backing, and just reassemble that the best that you can. And they're a little wonky sometimes, but I always put it right back together and assembled all of that in the frame. Why not? I don't need it laying around. Try to get that right. Put your glass in there first. Hello. And get it in there. So this one's kind of loose, so you just want to mess around with it until you get it kind of how you want it. There you go. Looks good. And the other one, I think it assembles kind of the same way. But these, I have these on my fridge. They're fun. You can give them as little gifts, give them as stocking stuffers around the holidays. And I'm really struggling to keep that one in the middle. Maybe you want to make it a smidge bigger. You know, you decide. There we go. I'll be really gentle. Get that back on there. There we go. Close it up. And you saw how you could put it on a cute easel, or the other one that comes with a little back stand there. Cool. Great. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope it will encourage you to try it as well. I think I kind of said everything. Subscribe and leave some nice comments. Leave some, leave some questions. Do you have any questions about any of the supplies that we used today? You can get them a lot of them local. Some of them I ordered. This ink I ordered, but I think you can find it at Michael's. They're not all real hard to find items. And we'll see you next time. Bye.